Hi, this is Chris from the Stephanie Miller Show. Please enjoy this exclusive clip from Political Voices Network.
Tonight was the old former, the Joe Biden that we're kind of used to, except now 4 years older than he was in 2020. But, he hit his mark. Yes, he made a couple flubs, but we know that. That is Joe Biden. He's the gaffe meister. But that's okay. People are not worried about that. They're worried about one thing. Trump must not set foot on the property known as 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue ever again.
Amen. Hi. It is 6 minutes after the hour on the Stephanie Miller Show. I am Jody Hamilton, sitting in with Chris Lavoie over yonder.
Hi.
Ms. Miller is in D.C. today. She is interring her mother with her father, so we wish her well, and lots of hugs are going out to her. And then tomorrow night is Boston Sexy Liberal.
Yes.
Huge surprise guest. So if you haven't gotten your tickets yet.
Huge surprise.
You really need to do that because, wow, are you going to have FOMO if you don't FOMO?
And John Fugelsang, who's going to be on with us in hour 2 today.
He doesn't even know.
He doesn't even know who the super secret guest is. We have to keep it that secret.
It's that secret.
Yep.
It's that monumental.
Yep.
It's huge.
Huge.
It's huge. This person, everybody there is going to be the screaming.
Well, I mean, I don't want to oversell it. It's not going to be like Biden or anything.
Well, no. He's busy.
I don't want to oversell that.
He's busy.
Right.
But no. He, the person that is going to be there is one of the. They're going to go nuts. I think in the audience. I think
people will love that person.
I think so. I think that person is going to get a nice standing ovation when they show up.
Yep.
And the person we just spoke to, who heard from just now, was Michael Moore of all people, who has been pretty forceful, for lack of a better word, I think, with Biden getting out of the race. And so for him to come out and say that was normal, but that's how I thought about yesterday. What did you think?
It was fine.
Yeah. If it hadn't been such a big deal, it would have been a normal press conference.
Right. He didn't completely knock it out of the park, but he didn't barf on himself, so it was fine.
I mean, it's Joe makes gaffes.
Sure.
We've known that. There is a whole set of GIFs and memes and recordings over the years of him doing that. So the few that he made, which the first one, I didn't listen to the whole question because I was like, this question is so long. And that was the other thing. It's like, can you just ask a simple question, people, and stop asking the same one over and over again? It's, get your different questions in once he's answered it. Yes, he made a mistake calling Vice President Harris Vice President Trump. Trump's on his brain for obvious reasons. Right. And so I didn't have a problem with that. After that, he seemed fine. I mean, yes, he stumbled, but that's normal. When you're thinking on your feet, you're going to stumble.
Right.
Hi.
That's normal. And that's normal Joe Biden, too.
And it's normal Joe Biden.
Yeah.
Some people are upset with his whispering. I like it when he whispers. Because he's bringing people like, listen to me carefully. Some people think that's bad. I personally don't have a problem with that.
His vocal tick of just not joking here,
right?
Is that can get a little repetitive.
True, and
not joking here.
I understand that, and then his self-deprecation is understandable because he's not the type of person that touts himself. He's just not. That's not in his nature.
Yeah.
So when he said, "I don't want to be so full of myself," I understood that because that's not who he is. He's not Donald Trump, thankfully.
Right.
I think he did well. A friend of mine texted me in the middle of it, and he's like, I can't stand it. And I'm like, what? What are you watching? It seemed perfectly fine, and had it not been such a big deal, it would have been a normal press conference.
Right.
And he said a lot, though.
Had we not had the two extremes of Joe Biden this year, the incredible State of the Union and the crap show that was the debate, he would have done really well yesterday, but it was just fine. It wasn't up to the level of the State of the Union.
Well, the State of the Union, again, is scripted.
Sure.
And he rehearses that. So when you're talking and he said a lot his grasp of foreign policy is insane. Off the cuff, knowing everything. Yeah, he stumbled a little bit on a couple of things, but again, thinking on his feet, answering very complicated world questions. And his answer with Gaza is there must be a ceasefire, which is sort of newsmaking. Yeah. People are still upset. It's like they're still blaming him for something he literally has no control over.
Right.
And he did blame Bibi, thank you. He said talk to Bibi at one point.
Yeah.
which is the person that you talk to, because he's the one that's continuing this. He reiterated that when the massacre happened on October 7th, that he called Bibi and said, don't do what we did. Mm-hmm. And we can get these people. And he mentioned Golda Meir, who did get people surgically.
Yep.
Thank you very much.
Yep.
She was a really good prime minister of Israel. And Bibi could have done that.
Yep.
He has the resources. Mossad is a very good intelligence agency.
Sure. Yeah.
And they have the resources to do that. And right now...
Watch the movie Munich, directed by Steven Spielberg.
Exactly.
That's about that.
It's exactly about that.
And, you know, when this whole war first started, I'm like, why can't we do what they did then? You know,
don't be George W. Bush.
Right.
Don't bomb a country.
Right.
There's no reason for it. And Biden was very, very staunch.
Don't use a sledgehammer when tweezers will do.
Exactly. And he was very, very forceful on that two-state solution, and it has to, and no occupation of Gaza. And anybody that doesn't believe that, you're listening in your own little echo chamber. I believe Biden when he says that. He wants this over. He wanted them to do the right thing like Golda did. And Bibi just doesn't want to do that. He wants to stay out of prison. That's what he wants. That's why he keeps continuing with this. So I'm glad that Michael Moore said what he said. He went on to say this as well.
He must be defeated in November, and we must do whatever we need to do to make sure that happens. This isn't about being loyal to Joe Biden. This isn't about being grateful, as I am, for his 3.5 years of what he's done. I've said he's probably the most progressive president we have had in my lifetime.
That's a lot coming from Michael Moore, as far as I'm concerned. Because Michael encouraged people in Michigan to vote against or to vote present or non-committed. That's what I think that was during the primary, because of his problems with how Biden is dealing with the Gaza situation. And again, Mr. Moore, what is he supposed to do? Nobody that's upset with President Biden, other than he's not sending, he said it last night, I'm not sending 2,000-pound bombs. And by the way, Congress is appropriating funding to Israel. They control the purse strings. So if you have issues, talk to Congress. Yes, the president is signing it into law, but Congress could pull that funding if they wanted to. So talk to them about it. He is not in control of that, even though I guess with the Supreme Court ruling, he could be.
Anything's possible.
Anything's possible. I mean, we have our fantasies about what he should do with all these new powers.
And
but
those fantasies involve ball gags.
Yes, many, many ball gags. That would be fun. I think it would be.
Yeah.
But I think he did fine last night. He
did fine.
I think so. It wasn't a barn burner, but then when are press conferences barn burners?
This one was closely watched.
Yes. But what was he supposed to do? Have pom-poms do the pommel horse?
No.
I mean,
no.
He answered the questions. He had a grasp of reality. He had a grasp of the complex stuff that foreign policy is. I want Donald Trump to do the same thing with the same questions.
Oh, he won't do that.
For an hour. And Biden was going to stop earlier than he did, and he kept going.
Right.
Which he didn't have to do, because his handlers were like, no, he's done. No, he's done. He's like, hey, what do you got?
I think the press conference was 59 minutes and some
change.
Some change, yeah.
But they wanted to end it a little sooner.
Yeah.
Because and the other thing I noticed, unlike myself and Ms. Miller, when he was going down the list of who he was going to get questions from, see, you can stumble even at 57 when talking off the cuff, just to let you know. I noticed he didn't have a pen to check off who he had already asked. Did you notice that?
I didn't know.
I paid attention to watching his hands because he went down like with his feet. He didn't have a pen because when he would ask, pick a person, his hand went immediately back up. You didn't see him, do anything down here below the lectern. I can't do that unless I really know these people's names very, very well and know that they have just asked me a question. I wouldn't be able to do that.
Yeah.
So that's another thing telling you he's with it, children. He went down, he looked at one point and he went, okay, no, wait, different person. I need to ask that person. Some people on the Twitter sphere are tweeting out, well, he had the questions ahead of time. No, it's not the press secretary who usually gets the questions ahead of time so she can prepare with her answers. That's not out of the ordinary. But this was not preordained that they were going to ask him X, Y. He had a good idea about his age and whether he was going to step down.
Sure. Yeah.
He had a good idea about that. He had a decent idea about some of the foreign policy because that's what the press conference was about.
Right.
And he was prepared for that. But he did not know the questions ahead of time. So anybody saying that, stop it. You're not right. And I thought were it not going to be so scrutinized, people forget names. They do. He did it earlier. In fact, let's play this because people are going crazy about it. It's number 17.
Mm-hmm. And now I want to hand it over to the president of Ukraine, who has as much courage as he has determination. Ladies and gentlemen, President Putin.
Hold on.
President Putin. We're going to beat President Putin.
There you go.
President Zelensky. I'm so focused on beating Putin, we got to worry about it. Anyway, Mr. President.
I'm better.
You are a hell of a lot better.
Now.
Thank you so much, Mr. President.
Now listen.
It was a little cringe.
It was, but again, it's not like Donald where he doubles down on stuff.
Yeah.
And he's not actually doing that horrible sound that Stephanie does to Putin. It's on his brain, especially when he looks at Zelensky. It's on his brain. And I believe Stephanie yesterday referred to President Trump when she met President Biden. So it happens to everybody. And he caught it and he went, wait, hold on. That's not what I meant. It took him a second to go, oh my God, I can't believe I just said that. That was dumb. Mm-hmm. And he owned it. Mm-hmm. And that's fine. I don't have a problem with that. He is not Donald Trump, people. And he is not J.D. Vance. And he is not anybody that's supporting Project 2025. We need normal Republicans to run against Democrats. And they're not here right now, unfortunately. And so this is not, if Donald Trump decided not to not be in the race anymore, I'm worried about your Josh Hawleys, your J.D. Vances, and everybody that right now is at the top of the Republicans' minds. Mm-hmm. Because all of them are smarter than Donald and are just as awful as Project 2025. They just are. They will take the reins and go with that, were they to become president. So it's not just Donald. Yes, we're sticking it to him because he's not going to drop out of the race, because the only reason he's in the race is so that he does not get put in prison. Mm-hmm. That's it. Otherwise, he wouldn't be doing this. He'd be done because he doesn't want to work. We know that. No. Speaking of, they asked the president, what about your time and you're tired, and it's like, I don't get up at 7 and go to bed at midnight anymore.
Right.
You shouldn't be doing those hours. I don't care how old you are. That's not healthy, especially when you're in your 70s and 80s. That is an unhealthy schedule. For him to say, I need to take care of, I am with him. Get up at 7, fine. Go to bed at 8, perfect. I'm fine. Trust me, if there's something that happens, he will be woken up in the middle of the night, should it be necessary, and he will be rested. I have no problems with that. Wasn't it Obama went up at 6 p.m., I believe?
I don't know.
In the evening. I mean, that's been reported. Nobody had a problem with him clocking out at 6 p.m. I don't have a problem with him at 8 p.m. That's late. Way later than Donald, who had his executive time every morning and didn't do the job. Didn't even want to read briefs. Didn't want to know anything about anything except for, cozying up to people like he did yesterday with Viktor Orban and Putin, and tearing up notes or not letting people take notes with said meetings, unlike this president. So stop your hand wringing. I'm just, it's not cool. It's stupid. It's too late. Think about, were we to replace the president on the ballot, the complications just logistically of doing that, I'm sure there are contingencies there are always contingencies, I'm sure, with a sitting president running who has a vice president. And Kamala Harris would be a great president, as he said yesterday. And I have no problems with her. I do have problems with people having a problem with her. Because she should be, if we're going to replace the current president, it should be the vice president.
You are invited to Stephanie Miller's Sexy Liberal Save the World Tour. It's the political comedy event of the year, and it's coming to a city near you. Join Stephanie Miller, the queen of progressive talk radio, along with Hal Sparks, John Fugelsang, and the comedy duo Frangela, mocking all the fascists and trolls for a tour that is hilarious, inspiring, and deeply offensive to just the right people. It's an all-new tour with all-new guests and a side-splitting evening of stand-up. Stephanie Miller's Sexy Liberal Save the World Tour.